Welcome to the New Life Stories channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching.
Sometimes a person's life changes dramatically because of a happy encounter. Such twists of fate are especially important for children. Mom, why do my feet hurt so much? Scott was 7 years old. He was a poor and unhappy boy. At the time of his birth, a mistake had been made due to the wrong position of the fetus, and most likely the inexperience of the doctors, or perhaps their negligence. As a result, the boy was born disabled, seemingly with normal and strong legs, but he could not walk because he experienced unbearable pain when walking. "I don't know what to do anymore. Taking care of you is too much for me. I can't take the strain," said Haley, his mother. The parents were very discouraged and upset at the birth of their son with such disabilities. He was giving them a lot of trouble and difficulties. They would have put the boy in a special boarding school long ago, but the family had very little money. Only the father worked, and he had no education. Therefore, he was taken mainly only for physically hard work, and they paid him very little for it. But the boy was paid a good allowance, and the parents, gritting their teeth, kept a small invalid in the house. Finally, the boy's father managed to get a good job as an office driver, and soon he left the family. Some rich female boss had her eye on him. Haley was left alone with her son. She felt she couldn't get a good job because of his illness. She didn't have a decent education because the child needed constant care, and she couldn't afford to make time for school. If it weren't for welfare and food stamps, she would have abandoned her annoying son long ago. He was always hungry for some reason, and walking with him down the street in his old and crumbling stroller was a torment to her. This time Haley was walking ahead, texting with a friend, and the boy was turning the wheels of his stroller behind her. And suddenly there was a scream. The woman turned around. The child had fallen sideways with the stroller because she couldn't hit the curb and was now floundering on the grass, trying to get out of the stroller piled on top of her and reaching out for her. "And it will always be like this," the woman thought. Suddenly angry, she abruptly turned around and walked forward alone. She was determined to change her life completely. There should be no place in it for an invalid. "Mommy, help me," cried the poor boy in the wake of the departing woman. He struggled to get out from under the stroller. Scott sobbed and called out for his mom. A man driving down the road in a luxury car saw this heartbreaking sight. He was shocked. The little boy was floundering on the grass, pinned down by a wheelchair, and there was no one around. The man jumped out of the car and tried to comfort the little boy. He was crying and calling for his mom. What he saw was unbelievable. The mother walked away, leaving her disabled son on the sidewalk. The man put the boy in the car seat and threw the stroller in the trunk. He didn't want to scare the boy, so he said, "Honey, let's look for your mom. Maybe she's lost somewhere." The boy stopped crying, and they drove off. Soon he calmed down completely. When they pulled up to a big, beautiful house, the boy looked up with interest. "Come on, will you stay with me until your mom is found? I have a big house after all. You'll like it, okay? My name is Oliver. What's your name?" "Scott," replied the boy. "Well, here we are." The man carried the boy out of the car in his arms and carried him into the large, bright room and set him on the couch. The good-natured cook clapped her hands and said she would be sure to bake delicious pancakes for the boy. Days went by. Weeks went by weeks. The man bought the boy a special stroller and taught him how to drive it. It was electric, and the boy had to learn to push a few buttons. The child quickly got the hang of it. Scott liked his new home very much. He loved Oliver like his real father. A few months later, the man came home very satisfied and showed the boy some kind of folder. A stack of enclosed sheets. "Scott, do you know what this says?" "No. It says that you are now my own son, and you can live with me forever." With a happy smile, Oliver said. "Really?" Scott said with disbelief, and at the same time hope. "Of course, son," he exclaimed. They were both overjoyed and happy and hugged each other tightly. But Oliver did not rest at this. One day he took his son with him and stopped in front of a building that had a big red cross painted on it. A doctor in a white coat came out of it. The boy was frightened, but the doctor examined his legs, and then he was examined on an interesting medical apparatus that looked like a spaceship from the future. The father then had a long talk with the doctor about something, and when they got home, he sat his son down across from him and began a serious conversation. "My boy, soon you will be able to walk." "Is that true, Dad?" "Yes, but there is one but. You'll have to have surgery, and it will be very painful to learn to walk afterward." "But will I be able to walk fully afterward?" Scott asked apprehensively. "If you try hard enough, you'll definitely be able to do it." "Dad, I'll endure anything to be just like all the other boys." "You will. It's up to you." Satisfied with his son's answer, Oliver said. Scott underwent surgery. Recovery took over a year. He learned to walk very, very slowly, but persistently. At first he literally hung on the doctor, who repeated every step he took. Then he got better. The boy tried his best in spite of the pain, and this persistence paid off. The next year, the boy went to school with a limp, but without help. His life became better. He gladly absorbed new knowledge and tried to study as best as he could to please his father. After many years, Scott became a man. He graduated from high school and medical school with honors. Now he was working as a doctor in a large medical center and was getting solid money. But last year, his father died. At the time he found the little boy, he was already 65 years old. Scott got out of his car and sat sadly on a bench in the very park where his father had once changed his life. He reviewed the pictures on his phone of the two of them together over the years. How he missed his family. Suddenly, a woman's voice sounded somewhere nearby. "Young man, can I ask you for $1 for a cup of coffee and a bun?" He looked up. Standing in front of him was his mother. She had aged considerably in her 20s. Her hair was untidy and her clothes lacked neatness, but he recognized her. She flinched as she looked deep into the eyes of this obviously educated and wealthy young man. Something distant and poignant flashed through her soul, and tears came to the woman's eyes. "Mom, it's me, Scott. Do you recognize me?" "Yes, I recognize you. How handsome and grown-up you've become." "I'm sorry, son." And she quickly started to walk away. But Scott gently stopped her and said, "No, Mom, I won't leave you. We're going to go to that beautiful house my real father left me. He helped me then. Now I will help you and keep the memory of him, and the fact that you once gave me life." The elegantly dressed man put his arm around the sloppily dressed woman, and they walked to the car. Random passersby looked at the couple in amazement. Happiness was evident on the faces of both of them. Children are like little chicks that mom and dad can swat with their indifference or let them rise to incredible heights. This is important for every parent to remember, no matter what kind of child they are raising. Thank you for visiting our channel. Thank you for listening to our stories. All the best to you.